All right, so for day 24, challenge 24, we challenged ourselves to perform stand-up comedy. So we went to this place that was doing a comedy open mic, and we signed up. We had prepared something ahead of time because we knew that we were doing this, so we tried to come up with our best jokes.
We tried to be funny, but
Yeah, you guys can be the judge.
Let's give it up for everyone that's gone so far tonight. And everyone that's going after this. This is not easy to do. This is my first time doing this, and it's really just on a dare, on a challenge. But we'll see how it goes. Be kind. How's everyone doing tonight? Doing good? Any of you got kids in here? No. Okay, good. So we're all part of the same group. No, I'm happy to not have kids. I think kids are the absolute worst. They will talk to you so long about things that you care so little about. And, a lot of people wish that their dogs could talk to them. You have any dog lovers in here? There we go. Yeah, people love dogs way more than kids. People will wish that their dogs could talk to them. And people say they're dog lovers, but they really don't know if their dogs love them back. They just convince themselves that their dogs love them. And could you imagine if you could talk to your dogs? You go up to your dog and say, "I love you," and your dog goes, "You're nice and all. You feed me, and you're cool, but I'm just not ready for that kind of commitment." And you have to live with your dog. You just have that awkward relationship with your dog. You're walking around in your house, you pass your dog, you just bump into him. "Oh, hey, I didn't see you. I was just going. Oh, yeah, no. Okay, I'll see you later. Yeah, no. Actually, I gotta go out to pee because you let me have to go. Oh, yeah, sure. You still have to take care of your dog, even if your dog doesn't love you back." People will conveniently forget that, their dogs had no say in whether they went home with you or not when you adopted them from the pound. It could be a really weird relationship that your dog sees it as with you as their owner, because it's almost like they're in prison and you're their prison guard. You feed them a meal every now and then, every so often you decide when they get to go out, and then you just really confuse them when you go up to them and you pet them and you rub them down. Like, okay, well, I just gotta keep fetching that ball and I gotta keep sitting when he tells me to sit so I can keep getting fed. Yeah, no, I love dogs, and I have a dog of my own, and with my girlfriend, she's Asian, I'm Asian, so by default, our dog is Asian, so we have some really high expectations for our dog. We take our dog to dog school, and we don't just take our dog there, we make sure that she is the first one there, that she's sitting up in the front of the class, as she's answering questions, she's being engaged, she's doing homework, she's asking for extra assignments. At the end of the class, we went up to the teacher and we asked her, what grade did our dog get in the class? She said, "Oh, no, I don't think you understand. Dogs don't get grades in this. I don't think you understand. What grade did our dog get in this class?" She said, "Well, I guess if I have to give her one, she'd get a B. She was pretty good, but there's some things she could have worked on." So we had a long talk with our dog when we got home.
Yeah, this is my first time, so I'll take any relapse. Alright, so my name is Lindsay, and I'm a teacher. That reaction by the crowd tells me that you guys probably don't really care for teachers, so this is a good start. I'm glad that the Asian guy laughed at my joke. He was teacher's pet probably in school, right? Anyways, like I said, I'm a teacher. I actually teach first grade. I've learned that discipline works best when you're actually taller than the people that you're trying to discipline. So I'm pretty much stuck teaching first grade for the rest of my life. Like I said, I teach first grade, and sorry. So, as a teacher, there are things that you never think you have to tell kids because it's like common sense. I actually have a whole list of things stupid things that I've had to tell my kids in the past. So let's just go through a few. So I'm gonna get into my teacher voice. So sweetie, it's not okay to bring your dead pet to school. That's actually happened before. During my student teaching, I had this little girl, and it was the 100th day of school, and it was this big celebration we were putting on in class. And her pet parrot actually died the night before, and I guess as a last hurrah, she wanted to bring it to school. And that thing was in her bag the whole day, and you can just imagine how that conversation went at the end of the day when we had to tell her that we couldn't bring the bird on the bus back home because it was a health violation. So yeah, another thing that we've had to talk about was I have to tell kids we don't put other people's hair in our mouth to floss our teeth. I've actually had to say that multiple times to a student, but on the bright side, at least he has good oral health. So another thing we've had to talk about was, this actually happened to another teacher. It didn't actually happen to me, but she was sitting on the carpet reading the book to her students, and there's this little boy on the carpet, and he's playing with something in his mouth. And so she finally puts the book down and asks him, like, what's that in your mouth? And he says it's a tooth. So she tells him, okay, well, I'm going to send you to the nurse, and you can put your tooth in a tooth necklace. And then he tells her, well, it's not my tooth. And she's like, what do you mean it's not your tooth? And he's like, oh, well, and he proceeds to tell her this story about how he stole this other kid's tooth because he didn't play with him at recess. So to kind of spite him, he stole his tooth and put it in his mouth. And this kid is 6. Can you imagine what his revenge plot would be when he gets to be like a grown-ass man? Yeah, that's kind of scary. Anyways, so my last story probably would be when I had this kid. He's the sweetest, cutest kid. I love him to death. He has like no cares in the world. But he, one day we were planting flowers for Mother's Day, and I'm walking around the room, and one of my little girls comes up to me, and she's like, Miss Watanabe, Billy is eating the dirt. So I look over at him, and I'm yelling, Billy, stop eating the dirt. It's not good for you. You could get really sick. And he looks up at me, and he smiles, like without a care in the world that I just called him out on eating dirt in front of all of his friends. And he's just like, okay. So I tell him to go to the sink and wash his mouth out, and then I walk over to the bag of soil, and I'm reading the things on it, and it says contains fertilizer. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. He's gonna get sick. So I send him to the nurse. I tell him, take this bag with you, go to the nurse. So then I call her up, and I tell her, hi, I'm sending Billy over to you now. He just ate a lot of soil. Can you just take a look at him and make sure he's okay? It said it contains fertilizer. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. He just walked in. I'll take a look at him. And then we hang up, and she calls me back 5 minutes later. And she says, I think he'll be okay. I just gave him some laxatives, so hopefully he'll just like poop it out or something. I'm like, oh, great, that's awesome. He'll be fine. And she's like, oh, yeah, did you notice that the bag said it contains natural fertilizer? And I'm just like, okay. Do you guys know what natural fertilizer is? It's shit. The kid ate shit, and he didn't have a care. He seemed to love it, actually. Kids are kind of weird like that, I guess. All right, that's it.
Keep it going for Miss Watanabe! Yes.
Last night, mixed feelings. We ended up doing stand-up comedy, which was it felt good way after that we did it. At the time, it was not so good, and a little bit after was not so good, at least for me. But we did it, and I feel proud that I did it. Probably would not ever do it again though. Lee is considering just being a stand-up comic now. He's just gonna throw away all those years of schooling to become a stand-up comic.
Oh yeah. No. Well, Lindsay says that I was the best one there, so you know, how can I not? No, but we practiced, you know, the things that we're gonna say for like a good amount of time, you know, leading up to it. But even once we get up there, you know, it's just everything kind of goes out the window. But
It really does.
we went to this little bar, and they were doing a comedy open mic night, and so it ended up just being, you know, like aspiring comedians, people that were practicing their jokes and working out their bits, and there was no one there that was just to enjoy a comedy show, so it seemed like laughs were pretty hard to come by. It seemed like everyone was kind of tense and almost like competitive. But no, we had a good time, and everyone, you know, they were kind to us, and they made us feel welcomed and good about ourselves, sort of, you know, to be first timers doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a fun experience for sure.
All right.